Hey guys, it's Katie here with Life the Mundane, and today we are going to be talking about our 10 most used apps that we use in our homeschool literally every single week. Most of these are every single day that we utilize them in our homeschool. I have a wide variety of resources, from things that you can use with your kids to things as teachers that help us to plan or to learn and more. And so I'm excited to share with you guys all of that here today. So let's get started. First up on our list is probably my kids' top pick right now. My three younger ones in particular are loving the Window Seat app. So the Window Seat app, it is all Christian audiobooks, podcasts, music, and more. Some of the things that my kids love to listen to is they have all of the Christian heroes then and now and the history heroes then and now audios on this app. They also have the Children's Story Hour, which if you guys are not familiar with, has a lot of different things that will correlate with what you're doing in history and has audio dramas that tell about those different time periods in history. So I love to kind of match those up together. But this app has more than just that. They also include all of the Seeds Family Worship albums. They have amazing things like podcasts like Paws and Tales that my kids absolutely love. They have fun fiction books for your kids, from little ones all the way up to teens. Some of my teens have been listening to things like the Red Rock Mysteries, Robin Hood and the Rising Order. Of course, they really love the fact that you can listen to this offline. You can easily download the things to your devices if you want to listen on the road, or you're going to do it without using a lot of data or anything like that. You're able to do that, and it even has timers set up. So if you want your children to listen, let's say as they go to bed, it will automatically cut off after a certain period of time. So it's not just playing continually all night, or you don't have to get up or go check back in to turn it off. It's trusted resources, super fun. You should definitely go check it out. I'll leave a link down in the description below where you can find that. The second one that I use all the time is the Made to Homeschool app. So this is one that is an online community created by homeschool parents for homeschool parents. And I'm on there on a regular basis, posting, asking questions, getting answers without having to deal with annoying or critical feedback. It's always a very supportive and open place. Also, I get to have weekly workshops, so I get to hear from some amazing different homeschool parents or people that get to share about how I can grow in my homeschool. So I love that. Plus, there's a huge library of amazing resources like printables that I can use in my homeschool, exclusive videos, articles, and more. I actually have a coupon code for you guys. If you guys want to check it out, it is only good for a limited amount of time. So be sure to check out the link in my description along with that coupon code and take advantage of that discount that goes across everything on their website. Number 3 on the list has to be iXL. iXL is something I only use for one of my 6 kiddos, and I have found it to be incredibly helpful for her and have considered adding some of my other kids on as well. iXL has a lot of different options. We personally use the option that is just math and language arts, but you can do things like history and science as well on the app. I prefer to use our curriculums for that, but what I do appreciate about it is that it is a learning app to help identify where the holes are, where your kids are struggling, and to help them to get better in those areas. So it's not really meant to be a standalone curriculum, but it is something to kind of help identify and help them build and work on things. It all has a great assessment tool so that your child is constantly taking assessments to figure out what areas they could use a little more work in, and then the program will give them specific problems or specific practice opportunities to work on those skills. I can easily go in as the parent and see where my child is growing in these different skills. I can tell them that they need to do certain assignments, or I can just kind of let them pick and choose from what the program offers. We've been really impressed with this. My daughter has grown a lot in her spelling. She has grown a lot in her math skills because she needs a lot of repetition. She needs a lot of practice. So the fact that this is done completely independently, doesn't involve me or require me a lot, is really, really helpful. It also can be taken on the go fairly easily, and it's something she can do even on the days when we're in the hospital. And with her medical needs, that's always a big pro when you have something that is mobile like that. Number 4 on my list is Extra Math. Again, not a math curriculum, but instead a math supplement. It specifically helps you work on all of your math facts. There's addition, subtraction, multiplication, and division. And again, the idea is that your child will go on there, they will take a quick assessment to see where they are at. I believe initially you can choose whether there's a specific area you want to work on, but then it will assess them in that area, like addition and so on and so forth. And then it will continue to give your kids practice in the areas that they need more work on, but it is working exclusively on those math fact practices. The idea is that you want your child to be able to give the answer within 3 seconds is the ideal. That's kind of the sign that they have that fully mastered. And so they're trying to collect smiley faces of how many times can they answer it, not only correctly, but answer it within 3 seconds. It's kind of a fun way that my kids have found to be able to kind of challenge themselves, but there's not the timed pressure of a timed test. So there's not a lot of stress involved in it. It's not like if they get it right and it's after 3 seconds that they're disappointed or they get a big or whatever. They still celebrate the fact they got it correct, but you're trying to see how many times you can master and get that smiley face for being able to automatically retain those facts. Again, a great thing to do. A lot of times with my kids, I will have them do their math lessons and then I'll have them do 5 minutes of extra math a day as well. Number 5 is Khan Academy Kids. Now there is Khan Academy, which does have courses more so for like middle to high school, but Khan Academy Kids is a specific app that was designed for kindergarten to 2nd grade. It is completely free and again, a supplemental tool. It has things that work on all sorts of areas like reading and math and other things. And having these learning apps that are fun, but not so gamified that your kids can end up spending more time playing games than they do actually learning is incredibly helpful. And having those things that when they're waiting on mom, they know that they're allowed to go do a lesson in this, or they're allowed to go spend 10 or 15 minutes on something like this. Feels like a reward to them, but I know they're still getting in that learning and that practice. Number 6 is an app that I use with my kids almost every day, and that is the All About Learning letter tile app. Now this app is a one-time purchase. It's not an ongoing thing or whatnot, and it replaces the letter tiles that come with All About Reading or All About Spelling. Now here's the thing, you don't have to use All About Reading or All About Spelling in order to use this letter tile app, although it does correlate perfectly with it. You can select the different lessons and the different levels of the different subjects that you're in, and it will give you only the letter tiles that have already been introduced or only the syllable tags that have already been introduced. We use this every day in our lessons. My kids will spell out the different things. We use it on our Cozy Light calendar. We've also used it in the past on our tablets. And again, great for on the go when we have to do school in waiting rooms. But it's been a fantastic tool. It's something they enjoy. And it's something they enjoy so much that oftentimes after we're done utilizing it in our lessons and splitting words and labeling the different syllables of whether they're open or closed and sounding them out or using them to have my kids spell when I give them words, they will go in there and play with it themselves. My daughter's new favorite thing is to write the word shrimp every single day in that letter tile app. So every time I open it up, she's written shrimp. I don't know why she thinks it's so funny, but she does. And I just think it is such a great opportunity for them to sit there and they're practicing and sounding out words and like, Mom, would this one be an EE or would this just be an E? Is this a CK or a K? And they're playing with wordplay constantly without the mess, without the stress, but still having that tactile experience for learning. Number 7 is an app that my teens use very regularly. In our home, we have 6 kids, and out of our 6 kids, at least 4 of them have dyslexia and some more severe than others. And so Speechify is an app that helps my kids to be able to make anything accessible to them. Even if they're struggling to read something, they're able to take a picture and then this app will read it out loud to them. Now there is a free component to this app and a paid component. If you are fine using their 1 or 2 voice choices, you can 100% use the free version with 0 problems. However, it's a little bit more robotic sounding instead of sounding more like a person reading to you. Because I have a child who has auditory processing and it's actually easier for them to be able to kind of change or pick the voices that they prefer, we do opt for the paid version, but again, you can stick with the free version. Speechify goes in and not only will read aloud any text, so you don't have to have it on audio, it doesn't have to be a digital copy, you can take pictures of any book and it'll read it out to you, but it also highlights it on the screen as it's reading. So what I have done is I have told a lot of my kids, my older ones with dyslexia, who we've been working with for years and are doing so much better, but are still constantly growing and learning about reading and about becoming more efficient and effective in their reading. I have them listen with their ears, but also follow along with their eyes on the app. being able to hear it read and see the word at the same time helps build stronger connections for them and is something I highly recommend. I've done a whole video about what to do after you've taught your child how to read, those who struggle severely, like with dyslexia and other things, what you can kind of do when you transition into that learning to read into reading to learn. And I've got a video on that, and I'll link that down in the description below for you guys to check that out. But that is kind of how we use Speechify in our home. Number 8 is one of my favorite tools when it comes to homeschool planning, and that is Homeschool Panda. Homeschool Panda is an app that allows me to schedule out and organize all of my kids' lessons. I can color code them, I can move them around. I have done an entire video that goes much more in depth into this app and into this program that you guys can check out down in the description. There are a lot of online planning tools for homeschoolers, but not a lot that included an app. So having that ability to have that app on my Cozy Life calendar, to be able to have it on my phone, where I can easily open it up, look at today, and see all 6 of my kids and see where they are has been really helpful, especially with having 3 that are teens that are doing more of their stuff independently, and then 3 I'm working with more one-on-one. I'm able to keep checking in all throughout the day and say, okay, I can see them, they're making progress in their day, because as they check it off on their own device, it auto syncs it to my device. And then I can also check in and be like, hey, I noticed we haven't checked anything off in a couple hours. Are we getting distracted? And so it's just been great for accountability, for record keeping, and just to help me keep everything straight, because there's a lot of moving pieces when you're homeschooling 6 kids. Number 9 is Goodreads. And Goodreads is a completely free app that you can create an account on, and you can track all of the books that you read. Now, you might not think about this for your homeschool in particular, but there are actually 2 reasons why I really like to have a Goodreads account for my homeschool. I appreciate the fact that I can see the progress. Sometimes as moms, especially if you're in a season where maybe reading aloud to your kids is kind of hard, you can feel like you really haven't made much progress. Or because it's so hard, you can lose motivation and stop trying altogether. With Goodreads app, the way it works is that you input the books that you are reading, and you can even input goals of how many books you want to read for the year, but you input the books that you're reading, and then at the end of each reading session, you can just insert how many pages you went through or what percentage of the book you went through, depending on what's easier to figure out. And so with that, you're gonna put that in, and it'll automatically give you a percentage and let you know how much of percent of that book you have read. This is really motivating to me and my ADHD brain. It just helps me to see the actual progress. It encourages me to read one more chapter when I'm reading with my kids, and it holds a record of everything we've read for the year. Now, the second reason I'm really loving it is this year I've had my teens create their own Goodreads account so that they can track not only the things they're reading for school, but also the things they're reading personally. They're at the age where they're reading a lot more than I can keep up with. And so being able to see that and have those records and those memories is really valuable. Plus, you can add things like your thoughts on the book. You can assign 4 of your students to rate it and write a review. This would be a great way to get to know what they thought and have them reflect on what they've read. Number 10, without a shadow of a doubt, would have to be YouTube. I use YouTube in my homeschool almost every single day. We love it so much. We utilize it both with the discovery decks from Waldock Way, which if you're not familiar with, have 20 questions per deck around a central theme. They ask a question, they have a QR code on it. My kids will scan that code and it will open up to a kid-safe YouTube video answering that question. And we love utilizing it like that, but a lot of times we will also search our own questions that come up, a lot of the rabbit trails that come up. If you guys are looking for YouTube channels that are fun, that are educational, and that have good quality information, be sure to check out this video here.